Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, again, my name's Dave. May the Schwartz be with you. We're looking at an homage here of the Cartier Santos 100 XL chronograph version. And this is actually by GuTe or GuTe. I noticed it also has the brand name Jaragar. Jaragar. I don't know how you say that. Anyway, I'll show you that up close here in a second. So it looks like it may be one company bought out by another, something like that. But anyway, you can find this on Amazon. It's got an interesting model name, which is B019TWEJZQ. I'll put that here on the video for you. Part number is JS022. So kind of interesting, but basically, I'll put a link to it down below so you can go straight to it on Amazon if you want to check this out in detail. So this is in comparison to the Santos 100 XL chronograph version. At first I thought this was like way too big. I was kind of curious, like, why'd they make this so much larger than the other Santos models out there? But then I found this one that it's actually an homage to, and I'm like, okay, I see. Because when we look at them side by side, the Santos 100 XL, it has a case size of 40 millimeters by 41 millimeters and a case thickness of 15 millimeters. Now, granted, the Cartier has a water resistance of 100 meter and a sapphire crystal, so obviously better movement, better quality, finishing. There's a lot more that the Santos is gonna have that this version does not, of course. But when we look at the measurements and dimensions, they're pretty spot on. I mean, this is also 40 millimeter case size. Case thickness is also 15 millimeter, and it has a hardlex glass. So that's kind of the same thing. I want to say a lot of Seiko watches have hardlex crystal or glass. And then the water resistance on this is only 10 meters. So definitely don't use it for any sports, water activities, anything like that. Showering, you guys know. Now, when we get up close, we do have some guilloche along the entire dial. Honestly, I kind of wish that, let me just wipe this down. I kind of wish that it had a combination of maybe like some sunburst effect or a satin finish and then some of the guilloche, but this thing is pretty much all guilloche'd out. So that's I don't know if I'm using that right correctly, the term right. It does have manual winding, but it's also an automatic movement. All it says on the movement is A107 stainless steel mechanical. So I'm not really sure. I tried looking up to see if I could find out which movement this is, but I didn't get any details. If you guys know, or if you see it and you recognize it, let me know in the comments down below. I definitely want to get a better idea of that. So let's go over some of the cons. We'll go over what I don't like first, and then we'll go over what I do like. Okay, main thing, this manual winding, the crown is like really hard to get in there and like turn. It's kind of a pain. I have a feeling though, over time, as I do it more, just play with it a little more and more and more, it might get easier to wind, I'm hoping. But with these crown guards here, kind of makes it difficult to access the crown itself for winding. That's great to protect it, as far as setting the time and everything, but to actually wind it, it's kind of a pain. I wish that they had left the crown guards out and just left these push buttons here. They do work, I'll show you that here. So if we press the bottom button, it will change the date down below. You can just cycle through them. So that's whatever, it works. And then on the top is gonna be your day of the week indicator. So starting on the right corner here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's going to take you through however you want to set it. It's funny, it works in reverse when you set it. So like I put 1 as Sunday. But if you progress, and down here below on the bottom subdial, 6 o'clock is the hours. So it kind of tells you like, okay, 6 a.m., noon, 1800, 24. So you kind of have like military hours there on the bottom. But even though the date changes in reverse, once we cycle through, you'll see it, boom. So it switches over around 2 a.m. At first, I didn't like the thickness. I kind of wish this curved down a little bit more on the lugs. That way when we put on the wrist, it kind of hides it a little better, but it rides high on my wrist. The thickness is something you either love or hate. It's growing on me though, I gotta say. It is definitely something that doesn't bother me as much. The finishing on this was not as nice, just like some of the other Homage watches I bought. So like I mentioned, I take some polishing cloths, I use a little bit of compound, and I hit these satin finished or brushed finish edges. Now it's super smooth, feels great. Just kind of clean everything up. On the high polished areas, the fingerprints show up very quickly. Now, one of the big cons with this watch is when I put it in my automatic watch winding box, which I'll put a link up here if you haven't checked that out. It's a really good winder. But when I put this on there, I noticed after a day or so, it would be stopped. The movement didn't have any power. It wasn't winding the actual spring inside. And so I was like, that's weird. And then I took a look and I noticed that the rotor wasn't really turning freely when I would move it. Now, I opened up the case and I put a little bit of gun oil, so I'll kind of show you that here. And basically I opened the case up, put a little bit of gun oil on there, and just try to see if that would help it. Now, coming back here, it does, see, it does move a little easier, but I'm still kind of concerned that it's too stiff still even to actually wind in the box. So I think if you're going to buy this watch, you're going to have to deal with either winding it every day or, wearing it every day and doing, seeing if it keeps enough power reserved, or winding it manually and then having to set your sub dials each time, which is kind of annoying. But man, let's talk price. I got this watch for like 18 bucks. I think with shipping or whatever, it came out to like, or not shipping, but tax, it was like 20 bucks. Right now it's on Amazon for around 35. So let's kind of summarize. Would I recommend this watch? For 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, sure. It's not without its cons, the big one being the winding could be an issue. Unless you're willing to open it up and mess around with it like I did, that's just something you're going to have to be okay with. But for an automatic, 20 bucks, man, I don't think you can beat that. Let me go ahead and show you on the wrist here. Let me zoom out first. So I actually found on Amazon while I'm doing this, there is a company that makes the deployment buckle and the correct sized straps. So you'll notice that it's basically two straps that are like this, and there's not a buckle. And so what happens is it's thicker. If you notice, look at the space that's here. See that gap? Basically, this strap for the Santos fills that spot in. Now on the real Cartier, the pins are actually screws that go all the way through. This is just a spring bar. Let me see if I can move that. There you go. So it's just a spring bar, but I'm almost certain that the holes are in the same spot that it needs to be for the actual strap from Cartier. I'm thinking about buying the straps and the deployment clasp. And basically the way it works is you put this in your deployment clasp, obviously at the right length, and you fold it in, and then you have the same thing on this side where you fold that in, and then the clasp is held together. So that's kind of how it works, having two ends that are just this style of strap. I hope that I explained that well. But anyway, I don't know. I'm thinking about getting it. The set is like 70 bucks or $75, which is a lot, right, to invest in a $20 watch. But it would just really complete the look of this. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. Maybe for my 100 subscriber count, when I hit 100 subs, maybe I'll purchase that strap and buckle kit, and we'll come back to this and revisit it. This is just a cheap, genuine leather strap. It's probably synthetic. I don't know. But anyway, let me show you one of the things that's kind of cool on here. When we zoom in, at 7 o'clock, Check that out. They put the little company name on there. Isn't that cool? I don't know. To me, like, I'd never noticed it until I was doing this review. And I was like, wait a second, those are letters. And sure enough, it's got it on there. Pretty awesome. We've got high polish on the inside, so kind of get some reflection there. Easy dial to read. Roman numerals. I mean, it's just classic. I even like how the subdials at 3, 6, and 9, they kind of cover a little bit of the Roman numerals, but it looks good. Doesn't seem too obtrusive. Day of the month here, hours. I guess if you like military time, you want to see that in the subdial. And then day of the week. You can kind of set it how you want. Sunday can be 7 or 1 or whatever. I'm actually really surprised with this watch. The more I wear it and the more I kind of look into it and then compare it with the XL 100 XL chronograph, I'm like, man, it's pretty impressive for 18 bucks. And if something happens to it, whatever. It's 18 bucks. I mean, just buy a new one. Well, that's my video, guys. I just want to say thank you again for checking out my channel. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, smash that like button down below. Leave a comment. Do you think this is worth it? Do you plan on getting one? Is it garbage? Just let me know what you think. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. May the Schwartz be with you. Take care.